This is just a quick little video to announce that I am now starting Sign of the Unicorn by Robert Zelazny. I've gotten into the habit on this channel of making a quick video to announce when I start reading a book, and then when I finish reading the book to come back in with a review. So this is the third book in the Chronicle of Amber series. So I'm not really going to have a lot of intelligent things to say about it. Usually on these videos I make when I start a book, I try and say a few words about why I started it, what interested me about it. At this point though, I'm just continuing through on the series. So I enjoyed the first two books in this series and am continuing on. Just a reminder, or maybe if you haven't seen the previous videos, I've got all 5 books here in one volume, the Chronicles of Amber Fantasy Masterworks, which is 5 books in one. These books were originally published separately, but Fantasy Masterworks has put them all together in one volume. I found this in a used bookstore here in Saigon, which was lucky for me because English books are hard to come by. No, that's not true. There's English books in Saigon, but specific English books are hard to come by if you're looking for something specific. And these books do have a cult following, but I'd never find them in a normal bookstore here in Saigon. But I did find this in a used bookstore. The book was a little bit brown and beat up when I got it. And it's deteriorated somewhat in condition over the past year because my 2-year-old daughter has taken a fascination with books and pulled this off the shelf, and the cover actually got torn off. I had to tape it back together, and I've done a very poor job of taping it back together. You can see the cover doesn't even line up with the top of the book anymore. But it's not important what condition the book is in at the end of it. It's just as long as it's still readable. I mean, I did say to my wife when I got home, I said, "Oh, well, why did you let her do that? I'm still reading that book. I haven't even finished it." I mean, if it was a book I had already finished, it would be bad enough. But a book that I was still reading and it starts getting torn apart. My wife said, "I can't watch her every minute of the day. If it's important to you, just put it in a spot that's out of her reach." So lesson learned. To be fair to myself, it was kind of out of her reach. I did put it on one of the top shelves, but she started climbing on things now. Anyways, the first 2 books in this series I read earlier last year. The Guns of Avalon, well, there were 2 books. 9 Princes in Amber was the first one, and then The Guns of Avalon. Just looking at my archives, it looks like The Guns of Avalon I finished and reviewed back in July, which was like over half a year ago at this point. So I'm taking a little bit of a break between books, but the way I justify this to myself is when these books were originally published back in the 1970s, it would be like, a year or 2 in between a book getting published. So if I had been reading them in real time when they came out, I would have had to take that long of a break anyway. I didn't really intend to take that long of a break. I just got distracted by other stuff, and I've been busy at work. And the fact that this book is a little bit bulky makes it a little bit more difficult to kind of take with me like on vacations or lunch breaks or stuff like that, which is where I get most of my reading done nowadays, is just taking stuff on a vacation or taking stuff on a lunch break. So this, because it's got 5 books in one, it's a little bit, yeah, I could still fit it into my bag, but it's not quite as travel friendly as some of the smaller books I've been taking with me on vacation. But I knew if I let this go too long, then it would be very hard to get back into the series because I'd start forgetting who people were and the characters and stuff like that. So I picked it up this afternoon. I'm already, how many pages am I into it now? Let's see. So I have to do some math here because this is 5 books in one. It starts on page 343. I'm 10 pages into it now. And finding the style is very much as I remember it. In fact, I think over the past 6 months I slightly forgot how interesting these books are. But now that I'm reading it again, I'm like, yes, I remember how good this series is. So it's quite pleasant to be back with the series. And then whenever I end up finishing up this book, I'll come back with a review on what my thoughts about it were.